I might drop when I switch over to my computer, but won't be more than like a minute.
All right, no, that works. That's fine. So let's recap because a lot happened 2 weeks ago.
So
We had a diplomatic summit start up in rather spectacular fashion. The Federation, Klingon, Romulan Republic, and Dominion representatives showed up. Uh,
Was
what
not
did
expecting the Dominion.
yeah, that was
No
a.
one ever expects a Dominion.
It's the Dominion the Dominion
The
Inquisition.
Inquisition.
Dominion Inquisition. What?
Uh,
So they showed up, uh, and it was possibly a little bit awkward, but not as bad as it probably could have been. The Zealand, of course, also showed up, and when they showed up, there was a minor incident involving a transporter
Minor
sabotage.
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know that I would describe that as minor.
That's fair.
homicide. Totally minor homicide.
Totally
Just
minor homicide.
just a little bit of just a little homicide as a treat.
So yeah,
Homicide. That's great.
just filing that in things that happened. Uh, but let's see. And Shiana took the lead on that investigation and did a damn good job of it.
Heck yeah.
So good.
For once in my life.
Whatever. So that is where we stand now. The culprit, because I actually have been keeping notes these days, the culprit, one Lieutenant Junior Grade Angel Yevik, uh, said his grandfather died in a Bajoran labor camp, and that has kind of his experience has kind of soured him against slavery. That was the reason that he gave Shiana. But Journey, I recall you saying you wanted Jonas to be able to have a conversation with him as we opened this week. So, is that something you want to do?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
I was just rereading the paragraph I sent you about it.
Yeah, good. And let me reread that too, actually.
Okay, I'm gonna drop real quick. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Okay, so you had asked for permission to escort the lieutenant to his quarters, and
With
to be
the
able to.
two security guards taking him.
Right. So let's pick up in the hallway, kind of on the way to his quarters.
What was his character name again?
Um, hang on. Angel Yevik.
Angel. Why does that sound familiar? Anyway, moving on. Sorry. We're on the station, right? His
Yes.
quarters are on
You're
the
on
station.
Starbase 374.
Okay. What's his body language as we're moving down the hallway?
Kind of subdued, but also a little defiant.
Okay. Are we taking like a direct route, or
Oh,
are
definitely.
we being...
Yeah, it is. It
Okay.
is definitely a direct route. The security guards aren't fucking around here.
Okay, so we're not like being shepherded through open areas where people are just gonna stop and wonder what's going on.
Correct.
Okay. Jonas is gonna hold most of the talking for when they get to his quarters.
Mhm.
That way, he's not causing too much of a distraction as they move through the hallways.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's move you all into the officers' quarters, where you arrive without incident. The security guards take stations at the doorway, and Yevik enters, and you kind of follow close behind. Um, and you just kind of find him staring at you.
Okay. Yeah. When he's in his quarters, is his mood still defiant, or does it crumble, or does it let down a little?
Still defiant.
Okay. Um. So as soon as the doors close behind Jonas, he's gonna relax his posture a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if I might have a word with you.
He says, well, I'm not going anywhere. Go ahead.
No, you're not, but you could still tell me to leave if you wanted. Do you mind if I sit? And he's gonna motion to one of the.
Yeah, he just kind of gestures and takes a seat on one of the couches himself.
Mm. Jonas is gonna take just a moment, and then he's gonna look up at this Bajoran and tell me about your grandfather.
I died before I was born, but someone
Do you know
else
anything?
stole his name.
Someone stole his name?
Someone stole his name, stole his identity, used his name to try and corrupt Kai Wen.
I see. Out of character, is all of that information like public knowledge about what happened on DS9 and everything?
Not really, but as a member of that family, you figure he probably would have that information.
Okay, what about Jonas? Would he have that information?
He might, having connections to Bajoran culture. If you want to roll an insight command,
Okay.
I'll set the difficulty here at 2.
I don't think I would have any focuses that would apply here.
Probably not, but let me look. Hold on. You know what? I'll let your attunement focus apply here because
Okay.
you're in a social contact situation and you're kind of trying to grok where he's coming from. So this will be
Okay.
one part listening and one part your own knowledge.
Okay. Okay. I was just rereading over my listener talent to make sure that I'm not trying to convince him or to do anything.
Yeah, nope.
Right.
There's
All right,
Regan.
Just a 1.
Just one. The reference to Kai Wen would have put what he's talking about. About. Was that your cat?
Yeah, sorry. She just jumped in front of the laptop.
No, it's fine. It's just. Well, it's an odd sound. The time reference to Kai Wen would have put what he's talking about somewhere between 45 and 50 years ago ish. No, not quite that far back. 30 to 40 years ago.
Hmm.
And probably just before he was born. But aside from that being the era of the Dominion War, you're not entirely sure what he could be referring to.
Gotcha. I will confess I don't fully understand what you're talking about, but I can. I have met. I have met a few Kais in my lifetime, and I can say that if someone did that, I'm sorry that someone took your grandfather's name and attempted to do such a thing.
It wasn't just any someone either. It was a Cardassian.
I see.
And I'm assuming you know enough about my people's history to know what the Cardassians did to us.
A lot better than you would think.
Try me.
At a gaze, how old do you think I am?
It's just, I don't know, 35?
That's kind. I'm quite a bit older than that. Quite a bit. I remember Bajor before the occupation. I kind of grew up on Bajor before the occupation.
Where were you during the occupation?
My mother and father had been through something like this before, but much worse, and decided to leave to get away before everything went south. My people were, in a very different way, subjugated and nearly wiped out by the Borg. And we'd chosen Bajor, and were welcomed there for it to be our new home for a time. And most of my happiest memories are on Bajor.
So, why are you telling me this?
Who did you pray for when you were in the control room?
It's a little personal, don't you think?
A little. But I know that it's a prayer for the dead, or soon to be dead.
It was for me.
Did you not think you would make it out of this alive?
I don't think I'm out of this yet.
No, very true. But you think at the end of it all that you're not going to be alive, or that a part of you died with what you did?
Possibly a little of both.
You see. Tell me, do you know anything about the Zealand other than the fact that they have slaves?
I know things that I've heard through Felithric's history and how devastating the Zealand occupation was for them, just like the Cardassian occupation was for us.
Mm-hmm. And with the Cardassian occupation and eventually how things changed and how the Bajorans and the Cardassians eventually became allies. Timid allies at first because of all the history, and now stronger allies because of it. Did you know that there's a new queen for the Zealand? And that's what started up the peace talks or the negotiations with the Federation.
You know that the Federation and the Cardassians negotiated peace talks too, but none of those stuck until the Cardassians endured what we endured.
True.
So what makes you think the Zealand are going to be any different until they endure what we've endured?
Who says they can't change without having to face what happened to your people, to my people, to the other species here? Who's to say that this queen is wanting to do what's best for everyone?
Do you really believe that, or do you think that maybe they're just waiting until the Federation lets its guard down?
Part of being who I am, and part of being a member of my people, is knowing that there are things that are always going to go a different way than what you expect. You have to learn that there are ways that things always balance themselves out. It might not happen immediately, but it will eventually happen. So, in this case, yes, I believe for the better of it that maybe this queen's going to be different. Maybe this queen wants peace, and maybe with the Federation's help, they will change. Because if you keep thinking that nothing is ever going to change and that the galaxy is just full of bad, evil things, that's all you're ever going to see.
But that's just it, isn't it? The galaxy is filled with bad, evil things.
It is, but it's also filled with beautiful, strange things that people have never seen before. It's filled with peace. There is a counterside to all that darkness out there. There are stars lighting each and every pathway that a ship can take. I would like to make a roll.
Okay.
I would like to, using my listening ability, at least try and impart on him that there is always a chance for things to turn out for the better, even if it starts out being the worst situation possible.
Okay.
I want to basically give him hope.
Let's make this presence command. And the difficulty is going to be 1, but I'm going to make this a contested roll.
Okay. Alright, no momentum. But I do get an extra dice for my listener talent.
Yep.
My attunement focus will come into play here, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's.
2 successes. Nicely done. Gain 1 momentum. And as you're speaking with him, you see his shoulders relax a little bit. His body language kind of softens a bit. And he says, "You sound like you've actually seen some of these things come to pass."
A few times. Serving on the Dauntless, I wasn't sure what I would see. But I've seen some pretty amazing things out.
I'll keep it in mind.
That's all I can ask you to do. And listen, if you need anybody to talk to while you're in lockdown, just ask for me, and I'll see if I can pull and come and talk.
I appreciate it, Lieutenant. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later then. And Jonas will leave his quarters.
Okay. So let's swap back over to Shiana, who would be where right about now, do you think? Kate?
Are we done with I don't know, conferring with the security on the station yet or not? I'm not sure.
I would say that while Jonas has been talking with Yevik, that Shiana's probably been like dotting I's and crossing T's with station security. Alternately, if you're not quite ready yet, we can always swap to Bianca.
So finishing, dotting I's, crossing T's. Shannon's probably back on her way to Dauntless.
Yep. Okay. I actually don't have anything for you right at the moment, so I am going to switch gears. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, Jonas, as you open the door to leave Yevik's quarters, you see the captain waiting outside.
Oh, Captain.
Lieutenant Carden, wasn't expecting to see you.
I wasn't expecting to see you either.
Bianca kind of looks at the pad that she has in her hand and kind of taps it against the palm of her other hand, and she goes, "Ranking officer in the Nebula, I have to deal with these sorts of situations."
Ah, I see. I was just having a conversation with.
Did you learn anything? Motivations? I haven't exactly been briefed. I've been busy.
His he's gonna look back at the door that's closed behind him and then walk across the hall in motion for the captain to follow, just so they're at least earshot away from the door.
Right.
His grandfather was killed in a camp during the occupation of Bajor. And then a Cardassian stole his name and identity and tried to corrupt a Kai named Wen.
During the Dominion War.
Yeah.
I've heard Varric talk about these sorts of things. And you notice that she's fidgeting with her left ring finger. And it has a shiny new rock on it. And she just and she's doing it subconsciously, like she's not trying to flash anything. She's just doing it subconsciously. And she's like, I remember him talking about some gull. The gull that like made the whole pact with the Dominion, I guess. Back in those days.
That, Jonas, would ring a bell. Because you know the name Ducat.
Oh. Gal Ducat.
That's the one. Sounds familiar anyway.
That... Honestly, of what I know, I am not entirely surprised at the story anymore that I was just told.
Well, so he has definite reasons to hate slavers.
Yeah. But I think maybe, just maybe, I was able to get through to him a little bit.
Okay. Well, before I make my recommendations to the JAG on what to do with him, I wanted to talk to him first.
Of course. He seems like a reasonable person. He's just been hurt. And all he can see sometimes is the darkness of the galaxy.
Yeah. That I can empathize with.
It's not an easy thing to deal with.
I imagine not.
I'll let you talk with him. And then he's gonna pointedly look down at her hand and then look back at her face. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, I haven't told anybody yet.
I'm pretty sure half the ship will know by now.
No doubt.
I will see you later, Captain.
Of course, Lieutenant. Are you going back to the ship?
I honestly don't know. I might wander around for a bit. I'm suddenly feeling a little homesick.
Understood. All right. Well, I better be about it.
And Jonas will give a salute, and he'll start walking.
And Bianca rings the chime on Angel's quarters.
After a beat pause, come in.
And Bianca just steps through the door.
He turns around, kind of looking over his shoulder, and when he sees the white shoulders, he steps up immediately and kind of assumes a parade rest position. Captain,
At ease, Lieutenant. Please.
And he kind of relaxes a little bit, but he's still standing. Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Oh, I'm not in this for comfort, Lieutenant.
Right.
And she's just going to sit on a chair opposite. Or adjacent, whichever. I don't know how the room's set up. But she's going to gesture with the pad, and she's going to be I am Captain Bianca West of the Federation starship Dauntless, flagship of the Carina Nebula Task Force. As the ranking officer in charge of this region, it is going to fall to me to make recommendations to the Judge Advocate General regarding this situation. And I didn't want to do that without speaking with you first.
I see.
How long have you been out here, Lieutenant?
I came out with the Starbase construction crew. So, I don't know, about 4 months? 5 months?
Not long, then.
No, no, sir. No, ma'am.
Well, Dauntless, I was assigned to her when she left dry dock. We've been out here for over 2 years now, almost 3. And we've had run-ins with the Zealand pretty much the entire time we've been out here. It's prevented us from further exploring this region of space for fear that we'd tread too far into their territory, and they are aggressive. That said, we were recently forced to go all the way as far as their home world in order to prevent a war, which we very, very narrowly avoided. And do you know what is in their main system, Lieutenant?
No, ma'am. The information would be classified well above my pay grade.
And for good reason, because there is an Iconian gateway in the Zealand home system.
And Bianca, you can practically feel this Lieutenant Junior Grade's gut, a heart, drop into his gut.
Do you understand the gravity of what you have done, Lieutenant?
And he doesn't look like he knows really how to respond. After a long moment, he says, he confesses, no, ma'am. No, I don't think I do.
I will probably catch some flack from the powers that be for revealing that to you. But I felt it was necessary. Because we are on the edge of a knife, Lieutenant. And what you did would be an act of war. And I am ready to make the recommendation to the Judge Advocate General Corps as much. But I also know the heart of the Bajoran people because of my con officer. I know there's a lot of trauma and pain. I'm Betazoid. I felt it. I don't pretend to understand it. But I felt it.
Permission to speak freely, Captain.
Granted.
Are there any Felothrix involved with this negotiation that's going on? Or are they being left out just like the Bajorans were left out when the Federation and Cardassians were negotiating peace treaties?
The Felothrix are part of the Federation now. And I'd like to think we're learning from the mistakes that we made with the Bajorans and the Cardassian.
With all due respect, ma'am, if you're negotiating with slavers, then you haven't learned the lesson.
My mother has a saying. There will be times that you will want to start a war because you feel like it is just. But unless you are willing to go down the casualty list, notify the next of kin yourself, and tell them that you started that war because your cause was just, you aren't ready to start a war.
When I see echoes of the same oppression that killed millions of my people, I can't sit back and do nothing.
I'm sure it'll be a lot of comfort to your people if these negotiations fail and the Zealand have unfettered access to Bajor. What am I sensing off of him?
So, you're picking up the aura of defiance that was there earlier, that Jonas noticed. Underneath that is fear, because he's not certain what's going to happen next. Because obviously there are implications here that he could not have foreseen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say too that his mind is kind of racing. He's having trouble focusing on one thought at any particular moment. But at his core, he still believes he did the right thing. Like, there's not a sense of repentance there.
Because I can tell you right now, Lieutenant, the consequences could extend far beyond your own court-martial and trial. And with that, Bianca just stands up and goes to leave.
Okay.
Let's just fan those flames! Yeah, let's do it!
All right, let's do a little bit of passage of time here.
So before you do that, not
okay.
that it's probably going to matter, just because my character, and especially Commander Ron and I, don't know what's going on, and I disabled all the transporters. Well, I mean, I'm not there for the individual conversations that this guy sounds like he might be acting alone. I would not believe that at first. So what I was planning on initially doing before we got really deep into that story, is Ron and I were going to go to the holodeck using all the internal sensor information, and we were going to plan out how someone would do this, who would have access, because it's almost like I might have committed a political assassination in the past. So what would ensue is two of us, in the holodeck scene, trying each and every scenario where we both kind of bond again, because the symbiote and I were both in Starfleet intelligence. And if I can make a roll in case it matters, I would, or just to, if the GM would like to award it, to get things moving, like thorough investigation.
Okay,
like we have
you know
all
what?
this.
Yeah, let's play this out. So before doing the time passage and the scene change, let's we'll go ahead and shift over to the holodeck with Raya and Jezza.
Hold on 1 second. All right, so what we'll do is, so we go into the holodeck. I tell the computer before then, since I'm in charge of the ship, that even though all the transporters are at any transportation to or from the ship has to be cleared by me directly, or it will not happen.
Yeah.
So I tell the computer to lock it down.
Okay.
So the captain can override me, but that's okay.
Right, yeah, the captain and the
ship,
first officer would be able to override that, but...
Yeah, it'll take them enough time. They'll be like, what the hell is this Romulan doing?
Mm-hmm.
Romulan stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll enter the holodeck. All right, Commander, hold on here. So it's just... It is culturally inappropriate. You are a separate person. Someone educate me on how I interact with a Trill that I know their previous host, but not the current one. Do I? Because I remember.
Ask the Trill.
Well, I just remember from the captain. Or I remember from not captain, Commander Sisko. Like he would refer to him, to Curzon, or not, to Dax as old man.
Right.
And
yeah.
he would frequently reference previous adventures they had. That's socially okay.
Yes.
But is right. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and continuing a friendship is also socially okay.
Yes, continuing friendships is totally fine. With Jadzia, because of the relationship that she and Cisco had, that was totally fine. But then, she meets, I can't remember which Klingon it was, but she meets him again, and he immediately goes, "Oh, Curzon." She's like, "No."
Core, I believe that's who that was.
It was,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's Jadzia now. And so,
Gotcha. Okay. I just
those
didn't want
things.
to. My character will then be familiar with you, especially when it's just us. Like I will call you, Jezza now, so I'm not going to call you. I can call you Ran. I'll just call you Ran. There you go. Computer, render for us. Transporter room 3 of Starbase. What's the name of the Starbase?
374.
Starbase 374. I assume it does such.
Yep.
Begin. I begin scenario 1. So whatever that is.
Okay.
So, okay, Ran. We're trying to assassinate a political leader through a transporter malfunction. Here are our list of suspects. Okay? I'll be actually I think it would be cool. Why don't you be who's the culprit right now? What's his name?
Well, and I think it's worth noting at this point that Bianca has communicated, like, hey, we have a guy, his name's Angel, like, we don't know if he was acting alone, though.
Gotcha. Cool.
Right. Yeah, Angel Yevek.
Cool.
Lieutenant
All right,
junior grade.
suspect, Lieutenant Yevek was last seen has apparently admitted to committing this action at this time. Computer, simulate the crew members at time index 924.
And it shows an Andorian crewman working like elbows deep in a console, doing what run what appears to you to be a level 3 diagnostic of the transporter system.
Okay. So this lieutenant here, indicating the accused, he probably has the holographic version of him. I'm gonna assume he's paused.
Yeah.
Kind of
So as this is underway, the Bajoran lieutenant walks in and starts working at the transporter console.
Okay. Okay. So, Ran, given this person's history, is he doing what he's supposed? I mean, he's up to something. Does he have this training? Would he know to do have this on his own, or did someone teach him? Given his training and what he's doing, because I assume the computer's rendering his exact buttons. Press.
Yeah, actually, in fact, you can kind of see what he's doing.
In theory, and Ron is just sort of sitting. Jezza's like sitting against something with her arms crossed, watching him with her eyebrows raised, like, "All right, we're doing this again. I see." I mean, yeah, he could easily learn that kind of thing. I mean, it's not like transporters are that tricky.
Yeah, but he had to be trained enough to not be noticed on a simple diagnostic. So he does have that training from Starfleet. Okay. So let's think psychologically here. People will set up accidents, usually as a dispassionate way to attack someone they're after, but I'm going to metagame here a little bit. Let me know if I wouldn't know this.
Okay.
But it seems like the accused has stated that it was very not necessarily personal, but he had a lot of passion. The occupation of Bajor, he is displacing upon our targets here. Yet, instead of confronting them directly, he does it from a distance. That feels to me very political. There's something else I would feel. Why do this? If I wanted revenge on someone, I would want them to look me in the eye. Yes, for them to know.
But, reminder that if you want revenge on someone, you would probably look them in the eye and then gouge their eyes out. Normal people don't do that.
I am a scientist and a scholar. Regardless, point taken. But I still feel, and maybe this is just the teachings of the Dara speaking to me, I feel like there might be something else at work here. Well, why these people? There were many slavers in the galaxy, the Orions. Why these people? Is it just opportunity? This is a strange amount of coincidence.
Some combination of opportunity, knowledge that they were coming. I mean, listen, if I'm told, right, as the head of engineering, that people are going to be coming on this ship, I do my utmost to make sure everything is in working order, especially in the areas people are going to be using. The transporters need to be functioning. They need to be operational at peak efficiency. It makes sense that they would tell their engineers, you need to be on top of this. And if you have opportunity, you know these people are coming on, and they know why they're coming on to the station for a political meeting that you think shouldn't happen because you don't want to see yet another Bajoran occupation go unnoticed or uncared for in their minds, of course. Why not? It's quick, it's clean, you don't have to face it yourself, and you get the job done that you want to get done.
You know, Randy, you bring up a good point there, at least in regards to this is just a crewman. You know, like to do this kind of thing there's a dispassionate attempt there, but you have to look yourself in the mirror. We should perhaps see if we should maybe look to potentially, again, going with the Dara here, if someone else is behind this or motivated him, Maybe they did so without him knowing. Are you familiar with social engineering?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it possible? Because this meeting has been. How long do we know this meeting was going to be here?
Being a
GM.
diplomatic summit, it's probably going to be days.
Gotcha. So he's only had days to put this together. But it's possible him or other people similar to him may have been the target of a social attack, social engineering. He may have been exposed to propaganda that brought up these old feelings, and especially to displace them from the Cardassians onto the Zealand. We should perhaps make note to security. But I feel there are so many slavers. This slaver.
Again, we go back to opportunity.
Mm.
And if it's a social engineering experiment gone awry.
Not an experiment. I wouldn't say it was an experiment. This was if he is a victim of social engineering, he was targeted. Someone knew enough about him that this was in the back of his head. They put the bomb there, and this, he points to the transporter room, this is ground zero for his detonation.
My point, Rye, is that if there's a social engineering thing going on, he would not be the only one. Why would you focus all of your efforts on a single crewman?
That's exactly my point, Ran. Exactly my point. When you and I did some wet work back on, he almost says it, just so the computer's not listening. Back when you and I had done some previous work, we don't just pick one person, we pick many. We should perhaps maybe try to see, maybe he's the only one that fell victim to it. Maybe they were hoping someone would put a bomb somewhere. He's the one that really responded. So we should check. Maybe if we can find out, because I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not exactly the most up to date on Federation law in regards to privacy. But if we can find out if this is indeed true, unless I'm barking up the wrong tree, to use a old expression, if we can find out where he was exposed to the social engineering attack, did it happen to others?
I almost, sorry to derail a little bit, but with Rye being Romulan, I almost feel like you would get that metaphor just a little bit wrong and be like barking up the wrong dog. Sorry. Carry on.
So, again, I'm just spitballing here. I'm spitballing. That's me using idioms. I'm just having theories here.
Okay, so if we're having a theory, and we're having a theory off, which it has been quite a bit, but what are your parameters? How are you going to find the others?
Well, I would say, let's assume for a second he's not acting alone. First of all, obviously the standard security check into his backgrounds. Let's assume that finds nothing. The commander, and I'm sure the station security, will be quick enough to find any obvious terrorist groups or any of the usual suspects. But let's say it's not that. Let's say it was. Let's go with the social engineering potential aspect here. He has maybe watched a holovid, something that has been altered to make him have that experience. So we got to find out where that is. Once we can find that out, we'll have a general idea of who it is. We can then backtrack their information. So to use an example, let's say it came up. I'm just going to make this up for our example here, Ram. Let's say it's the Ferengi. It's not the Ferengi, but just let's say it is. The Ferengi, they have a quad binary code, just making shit up, that can be noticed in their communications. We find that, we can then find out anyone who's been contacted with that particular code. Now again, I'm getting into details here.
You would need security clearance then to go through every single one of this gentleman's communications, everything he has done, everything he has read, watched, eaten. Mm-hmm. Like, you would have to go through so much, Rye, that the the rabbit hole would just eventually stop. I think.
And it may.
Or you'd lose your mind. That might be fun to watch, but probably not the most useful for our time.
There's something. We have the computers to help us with some of that work. And this is us just theorizing here. But if that's the case here, what may have happened is the destabilization of this entire region. There was a chance at peace that now may be gone. So if there's a rabbit hole to go down, I believe it's our duty, he says, kind of straightening his uniform, as officers of the Federation and of the Dauntless, that we make sure that we get to the bottom of this. And if that means we got to go have tea with the Mad Hatter, we got to have tea with the Mad Hatter.
Who let you read Alice in Wonderland?
That's a good question.
My experience here, interacting with human culture has taught me to learn a few tricks, as it were.
But I don't think is dressing.
Is dressing?
I'm saying no. Right now you're fine. You look fine, Rye.
Oh,
but,
the beach.
The
beach.
Yeah, I can't help but remember that you were wearing something.
Ran. Speaking of social engineering, I find it very important that my crew members observe me in a particular light. He says, when he says to be observed in a particular light, he says very razor edge to his voice. And I will do what I have to, and wear what I have to make sure I'm perceived that way.
Listen.
You and I. Because not everyone ran. Not everyone has been trapped in a grogdag hole with both of us in our birthday suits, to use a human expression. So we save that for special friends. But I think we'll have to send all this data here to the captain because we may be late for a very important date. Computer end program. I feel like I've taken enough of everybody's time.
Although the one note I will make before we switch
Please.
over scenes is as soon as they exit the holodeck, Jezza immediately switches back to anxious, like, oh god, people will see me.
Almost like slipping on a mask. Okay, so we are at this point, I think, going to do a passage of time. And we are going to fast forward to a certain meeting between a certain chief of security / first officer and a certain Klingon matriarch.
Yes.
Actually, no, I take that back. I'm not going to do that just yet because we do still have to set up the Kalhaya. So.
No!
So, I'm doing a scene change, but let's put it on the bridge. And it's, we'll say T-minus 2 hours before the festivities, quote-unquote, begin. So folks would be at their regular duty stations. It's really kind of up to you how many companions you would have for this. There's not a prescribed number. But given the circumstances, it would not need to be male friends. That is one restriction that would be lifted because of the nature of the wedding.
Screw you, your heteronormative things, Klingons!
Oh, Klingons are adaptive as hell. We've seen this.
That's true. This is true.
Klingons don't give a shit. As long as there's honor.
So Shiana is like doing this like nervous thing at her station. We're like, oh god, I need to ask this thing. How do we even fingers
Shiana,
tapping.
what's on your mind? Bianca would totally do that too. Yes.
And Shiana like gestures towards the ready room, like.
Bianca just goes, hey, she just kind of like beckons as she heads over.
And the doors part for you.
Why are you so nervous? It's making me nervous. I'm getting like secondhand nervousness.
So there's a Klingon ritual that I have to participate in, get through, survive. I don't know. It's all very mysterious. But I need to bring some friends with me to experience this trial. And just have been thinking about who I might want to have with me. For a Klingon wedding ritual. Oh God.
How long is it supposed to be?
4 days.
4 days?
4 days in the middle of this conference.
I know, 4 days in the middle of this conference. Oh God, I picked a really wrong time to... But would you do it? Would you come be with me? Would you be one of Makaya, people?
Grant. Yeah, no, I understand the concept. I would. I've just got to figure out a way to pacify the Zealand, that's all. No big.
Yep, totally get it. Totally understand why they're angrier than usual.
We'll figure this out.
I know, I understand all of the... But Lady Valkyrie, wow, she's...
Yeah, I know she's scarier than the Zealand. I get it.
She's scary. She's scary.
Look, I've had to deal with the matriarch of one part Klingon family, and trust me, I don't want to deal with a full Klingon matriarch, okay? I mean, I love B'Elanna. Don't get me wrong, but she can be intense sometimes. My best friend's mom. Sorry.
Cool. So, 4 days away from negotiations? And Shiana does that this is a really good offer I'm giving you face.
Klingon pain ritual or negotiations with the Zealand?
Klingon pain ritual.
It's a great choice. It's a great choice. Oh, I'll be there.
Well, the thing is,
I'll be there for
but
you.
I don't know that it's a pain ritual. I have no idea what it is.
It's Klingon!
It's Klingon, but come on. They're also let's be real. They're romantics when it comes down to it all.
It's true, but also pain. They think pain
but
is romantic.
But also they claim Shakespeare. They're romantics when it comes down to it all.
I get that, but that doesn't mean that there's no pain. Okay, you know what? Just sign me up for whatever. I'll clean up whatever mess happens.
Thank you, and can I ask a couple more of your senior crew to accompany us?
Okay. I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do,
Yeah, I just, if there's if there's somebody who, if I'm not here and you're not here, that you absolutely want to remain on the ship, let me know now, and I won't ask them to be part of my Kohaya.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure everybody on this ship is capable. I'm sure we can make it work. Although, to be honest, if we leave Ryan in charge, maybe the whole place will be a smoking crater by the time we get back, but I'll deal with it later.
So who outranks Rye?
You do?
There's gotta be someone else.
He's my third officer.
Fuck.
Or my second officer.
Shit, damn fuck. Sorry, I did not say that.
No, third is right.
You know, I have
No, second.
I have the
first,
utmost
then
respect
second.
for Commander Krev. I just don't know about 4 days.
Like I said, we'll make it work. I'll leave Cetacean Ops in charge if that's what it takes. Like,
plus the Yorktown is right in the system.
Oh, that's a good idea.
well, I sent the Yorktown in search of the Ferengi.
On that note, they found the Ferengi. They're on their way back.
Oh, okay, great.
And yeah, the Ferengi are waiting to speak with you.
Oh, speaking of the Ferengi, I have a call to take.
I'll be right back.
Okay, but while they're gone though, like, we would.
Bianca
like,
only
totally
said
burn
that in
everything
jest. Only said that in jest.
I'm like the COVID response. Every time I'm in charge, nothing goes wrong, but everyone's scared with what I do, but nothing goes wrong. It's like the COVID response. No more people aren't getting sick, so everyone's like, "Well, clearly Rye overreacted." But that was the point, was to stop anything else from going wrong. Nothing went wrong.
You're not
and everyone's
wrong.
like, "Man, you went crazy," but nothing went
Oh
wrong.
god, that's a very good analogy. I mean, Rye is. Oh yeah.
That's what I said.
The
Just
overreactor.
won't
Yeah.
turn anything down. Pinky promise.
You're like, Commander Rye, no one left the ship while you were gone.
Also,
It's
Dawn,
'cause
I
you
don't
literally
think the
took
second
apart
officer can
all
be
of
the
the-
chief medical officer as well.
I don't see why not, but that's me. Anyway, I'm back, and yeah. I brought my mouth guard because, you know, it helps with role-playing a Ferengi to actually sound like one.
Oh no.
God, it's true though.
Wait, I'm confused. Is Dahlia our main medical officer? I thought we actually had a doctor.
He's a psychiatrist.
He's a psychiatrist.
Oh,
They're the surgeon.
Yeah, so I basically put him in the counselor role.
gotcha. Okay.
All right, so let's swap back over to the bridge unless you're taking this in the ready room.
No, I'll take it in the ready room.
Okay.
I'll just tell Shanna to scoot and go gather her other friends.
Yep. Gone.
So, the hailing frequencies open. You see a Ferengi face that you recognize pretty much instantly.
No! Not this asshole.
No, it's a totally different asshole. It's you recognize him from Deep Space Nine, and you're wondering what the hell would Quark be doing out here. Captain Bianca West, I have to say, it's a pleasure meeting you. I wish it were under slightly less militaristic circumstances, though.
Oh, Quark, you've dealt with the Federation. You know what this is like.
Yeah, I know what this is like, but I was hoping that I was hoping that I could do a little bit of reconnaissance on some trade routes without being interrupted. I mean, you've got a very impressive diplomatic summit going on. There's bound to be some trade agreements coming out of this thing.
Look, Quark, I had a political assassination happen on me yesterday, so spare it.
We've all got problems. Right now, my problem is, what am I supposed to do while I'm sitting in the Yorktown's tractor beam?
Look, I'll make it as quick as possible. We have the guy in custody, but there was some unrest. He left abruptly while you were at the bar. I just wanted to make sure that the two weren't connected.
Because
we're not sure if this guy acted
sometimes.
alone. Are you running any slaving operations, Quark? Because I swear I will turn your ass in to deep space, or to turn your ass in if you are.
Come on, you know I am a legitimate, highly reputable businessman. I've got my own interests to consider. Besides, Ferengi doesn't look kindly on slavery these days. You know that as well as anybody. You've met my brother. Or if you haven't, you probably don't want to.
I haven't had the pleasure, but I've heard of I know of him by reputation only. Now, this Daemon Tech that I've had to deal with, on the other hand, let me fucking tell you. Sorry, my computer went to sleep.
That doesn't ring a bell.
He's got synthetic ears these days. Stick his out like a sore thumb.
Oh, wait, you mean the guy... I think I've heard of him. Hasn't he been rotting in a Federation prison for the last 40 years?
Not that I know of. He tried to kill me not too long ago.
Yeah, no. He was picked up on Earth. In the 2380s, looks like.
Right, time travel. Never mind. That's a whole other story. But, like I said, I just need you to take some statements. I just need to take some statements from you. My security people will be in touch, and then we'll let you be on your way.
Look, you know I had nothing to do with this. What'll it take to, I don't know, move this along a little faster?
Did this shit ever work with Cisco?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay, maybe bad example.
Cisco was very pragmatic as you humans go. He knew a good deal when he saw one.
Yeah, I guess that comes with being a frontier captain.
Well, it doesn't get much more frontier than this, trust me. Do you know how hard it is to get good Ferengi tube grubs out here?
I'm sure it's just as hard to get fresh tulip berries.
Well, I tell you what, Captain. You help me move things along, and I'll make sure that tulip berries are at the top of the trade route list that I give to my brother
I don't
when I
like tulip berries.
Well, why didn't you say so? I feel like you're being difficult here, Captain.
I'm not the one being difficult, Quark. I just need a few statements. Just need to clear some things up. And then you'll be on your way.
All right, fine.
I mean, because the problems that I've got right now, I don't think you have the solutions to be quite honest.
Don't knock Latinum until you've tried it. Alternately...
Like, Latinum doesn't solve all the problems.
No, but knowing what somebody wants and then learning how to sell it to them works every time.
Unless you can get me to get a Klingon matriarch to postpone wedding rituals until after this summit.
Depends which matriarch.
Valkyris. House of Duras.
Nope. No relationship with that one, sorry. Can't help you.
Didn't think so. Like I said, Latinum doesn't solve all the problems.
So these Zealand, what do you think they're in the market for, Captain? Hmm?
Other than bodies? Don't know. We don't know much about them.
Well, I can tell you some of the trade goods they've been shipping between systems.
And what would that tell me?
You can learn a lot from an army from what they eat. Isn't that one of your human sayings? Well, not one of your human sayings, of course. You're Betazoid, but I have heard the human say a thing like that before.
Yeah, well, here's the whole deal. We're hoping not to go to war.
Oh, that's all right. That's just as good for me, because whatever they want to buy, I want to be the one to sell it.
Peace is good for business. War is good for business. I'm familiar. Required reading at the academy.
Finally, they're teaching those Starfleet cadets something useful.
Yeah, so I can negotiate with you guys. Without being at a complete, utter disadvantage. Now, okay, Quark, unless you can sell me something useful that I can use to prevent galactic scale war.
Ketracel White manufacturing techniques in the Dominion? I have some contacts in the Dosai.
There is a compound that the Zealand are using that is similar to Ketracel White, and we haven't been able to wean the refugees we've rescued off of it.
See, I knew we could find something to agree on. Now, I just happened to put you in touch with someone from the Dosai, and you just let me go on my merry way, and we'll call it good.
All right. But if you go wayward, I'm going to send Captain Dax after.
No need to threaten violence over it. Don't worry.
Also, Worf is here, so.
Oh, well. You can tell them I've got 20 crates of prune juice on their way out here.
I'm sure he'll be appreciative. All right. Get out of here.
I'm out. And the channel closes without any further ado. Meanwhile, Kate, how is your search going for other members of your Krant, as it were?
Well, Dali was my first stop, and while Steph is not here to roleplay that, I do believe that Dali would agree to come with.
I imagine probably so.
Yes.
If only for research.
If only for research. Good point. Good point. And then Jonas.
Oh Lord, are you sure about that?
That would be amazing.
Yes.
Oh, she is not sure about any of this. Let's be real.
Well, yeah, yes. Shanna's very unsure about all of this, but Jonas, you're one of Shanna's people, so she's gonna ask you if you'll come do the pre-wedding ritual with her.
Sure. Do you want to make a scene out of that?
Totally up to you.
I am totally okay with having a scene out of that. That sounds
Yeah,
like
let's do it. Okay.
Okay, so while Bianca is engaged in her conversation, we have Shienna and Jonas, kind of like Shienna sitting down at the console opposite Jonas.
Yeah, so,
Just talking.
and tapping her fingers as she is wont to of late. So Jonas.
Yes.
I have a very important but kind of personal request. And you're totally free to say no, because it can be a little bit, the idea of it can be a little intimidating. I totally understand. But I want you to hear me out before you give a response.
Jonas just has this look on his face like, do I run now? But he turns around in his chair and he faces you, nodding his head.
So, as you know, Plakir and I are getting married.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people getting engaged lately.
I know. And so, the matriarch of Plakir's house, the Lady Valkyrie of House Duras, I've met with her, and she's requiring that I go through a ritual called the Kalhaya, which is 4 days of, I'm not quite sure exactly what.
4 days, as in like within the next 4 days, or happening?
As in 4 days of, like, a contiguous 4 days of I don't know what, of Klingon drinking, Klingon survival trials, Klingon, I don't really know. But I know that you are one of the people that I have always depended on and knew I could depend on. You're one of my people, Jonas. And I'm asking you to be part of my Kalhaya group.
Wow. Okay. First question. Does it reflect poorly on you if other members of your group don't do well?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's possible, yes, but also I have a lot of faith in you.
That's amazing.
Second question. Aren't you supposed to be a part of the negotiation things as the captain's second in command?
The captain will be joining us in my Kalhaya.
Oh. Oh no, okay. What's gonna, you know what? Nope, not gonna worry about it. Sure, why not? This is gonna be great.
It will be because we'll be together, like, because you're part of my Dauntless family, and I want my family with me.
And we will definitely be there for you.
Thank you.
Do I have to drink blood wine?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's okay. I'm sure it tastes fine.
Oh, blood wine is fine. I mean, blood wine is like the least of the possibilities.
I'm imagining such, and this is going to be a very interesting learning experience.
I need the support. I don't know that Valkyrie approves of me or of this marriage, and I have things to prove.
Oh, if you're in, okay, yeah. Jonas's demeanor like completely changes to very serious. Yes. Okay. Then it's war. We can do this.
Basically, yes. It's war. If that helps you approach this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna show this this lady that you are totally deserving of her daughter, and that she needs to butt out.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will let you know when and where. As soon as I know when and where.
Of course. I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, how am I going to explain this to Dolly?
Well, Dolly's gonna be there.
Oh, of course she is.
So I have one other person. Shanna is one other person that she's gonna ask to be part of her Kahaya.
Okay, who's that going to be?
Sisram.
Oh, very good. Yeah, nice. Yeah, he would be all for that.
Which I figured, you know.
Like, I imagine that, like, they have, like, a poker game or something that they play with Sisram, like, on the regular. Or, like, not necessarily a poker game, but, like a weekly kind of thing that they do together. And Sisram is just, like, holding tiny cards, like, what is this?
Oh, that's the best picture I've ever.
I will learn this game.
Fingers. Oh my gosh.
I will learn this game with tiny cards. I don't know. That entertains
Well, that's
me.
it.
The visual.
Bianca, Taxi, Jonas, and Sisram.
Okay. So,
It's gonna be like Sisram, and then like all the smalls.
right.
I just want to see the Lady Valkyrise's face when you submit the names, and it's like there's a Gorn on there, and she goes.
Hey, it's cred. It is cred.
Fair.
Because Sisram's like respect was not earned easily.
No, it was not.
Multicultural battle party, right?
Multicultural battle party. Well, it's like it was described to Cisco and Bashir and O'Brien by Worf as a Klingon bachelor party, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be amazing!" And then they were like, "This is pain. This is awful." Why? I love that episode so much.
Yeah. And now you guys have humanoids and basically a walking crocodile. So good luck.
Giant walking, like 10-foot tall walking crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Like our corridors are enormous, and he still is like boom, boom, boom.
Sisram is one of Shiana's favorites, though. Like,
Yes, Sisram is so good.
So
Mhm.
Remember when
effective.
y'all shipped me with Sisram?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. Oh.
Like really early?
Yeah,
I can't
like first couple of episodes.
First couple episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
is very good at what he does.
Yeah. and-
Danny was all on board for the lizard sex.
Oh, well, of course Danny was. Come on.
Danny was the one that gave me such a hard time for wanting to buddy up to Sisram.
I mean, I can't say anything. I once had an orgy with like probably hundreds of lady nagas once in a game. So, like,
Score,
Respect.
Sounds fun.
right?
Right?
So I
But,
understand
yeah.
buddying up with the reptiles.
Well, also, like, at the time, Bianca was just kind of like, that one will provide security.
I mean, she's probably not wrong.
Like, and ever since Bianca literally, like, laid her life on the line for Sisram once,
That's true.
like, he's been like, no, she has my loyalty.
Yep.
Because he would have been dead meat if I hadn't have done what I did.
Yeah.
Well, and he's got similar loyalties to Shiana, which is
Right.
nice.
He's part of the crew in a way very few Klingon Defense Force officers are. Really. Like, so to the point where, like, if Shiana's not at security, Sisram will fill in.
Yeah, he's very trusted. Absolutely part of, the in-group, the family, all of that. So.
I don't see enough of him anymore. He's a great character. Anyway.
So Shiana, this is about the time where you've got like a little reminder chime that goes off about 10 minutes before you're supposed to meet Valkyries.
Oh boy.
Actually, we'll say 20. Give it a little bit of leeway.
So is there some, reading or research that Shiana is brushing up on in terms of how to interact with a Klingon matriarch?
With deference, the good news is that Plakir was able to secure some Varhama candles. Like the genuine
the
articles.
Real ones?
Yeah.
Not replicated.
Her
not replicated. Cool. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Her contacts on the Bortashku worked out. Came through.
Meanwhile, I kind of do want to roleplay a scene with Bianca and Worf.
Okay.
Just real quick.
Let's do that real quick then, as you said.
Yeah.
Where are you having
Bianca's
this
basically
set?
gonna try and get Worf to cover for her. Like, Worf, you understand? I can't just put this off. Like.
Okay, so ready room then, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you've got an open channel, and yeah, for narrative purposes, we'll say you're at a point in the summit where they're kind of taking a time out, as it were.
Okay.
Ambassador Worf here. Captain West. What do you require?
Ambassador, I'm in a bit of an awkward position, to tell you the truth. That's why I'm asking for your help. My first officer recently got engaged to a member of the House of Duras, and the Lady Valkyries is on the station and is insisting that she complete the road to Kalhaya. Pretend I got that right.
Yeah, we gotcha.
Kalhaya. I'm not quite sure what this entails, but I need to be gone for 4 days.
I will... Oh, go ahead.
But I also know the Zealand's anxiety with what happened when they first arrived, and they kind of only trust me.
I see. This
but I can't
is,
put
as
this
you
off.
say, quite the predicament.
You see what I mean?
Yes. When I married Jadzia, we did not have any... And his face kind of contorts a bit. Distractions. There was only the Kalhaya. You find yourself needing to be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
I will speak with Kismet and offer her my assurances that her security will not be compromised.
Also, maybe if you can explain it's a Klingon thing. Can't really... It
is a sacred ritual that cannot be interrupted. I will inform Kismet of this as well.
And give her my regrets.
As you say, Captain.
I appreciate it. You're really helping me out here.
That is what allies are for.
Of course.
And Captain, Kapla.
Kapla.
And the view screen cuts out.
Bianca's just like, why does everybody need me?
Nice okay. Little bit of nice forethought to delegate that, though. Like,
right, and I figured he was the most logical person to explain that this is not like, I'm not like going off to go to a party, you know? Like,
right. I mean, kind of, but it's a Klingon party.
It's an obligation.
So, Shienna, you are back at your quarters and have had just enough time to kind of set things up. When the chime intones itself on your door.
Enter.
And wordlessly, Valkyrie walks in and just kind of owns the room with her presence. Regards you, regards the quarters, kind of sniffs at the softness of it all, and says, "Excellent. You have prepared as well as you could, given the furnishings of your vessel. I have prepared a program for your holodeck. I will meet you there momentarily." And she hands you a data chip.
Of course, my lady.
And without any further words, she just, I don't want to use the word strut, because that's not quite right, but she exits the room. Basically like you imagine royalty would. Like, she's just kind of got that aura about her.
Sidebar, where is Plakir right now?
You can have her. You could have her in your quarters with you if you so chose.
Would that be okay with like the unusual way that they're doing this?
It's really hard to read Lady Valkyrie. You get the feeling that she would have put on an air of disapproval no matter what the circumstances were. But you might have gained a point just from having the non-replicated candles.
Okay, so Shanna walks over to Plakir and says, "Thank you for the candles. I want to believe that she could smell that they were real."
Trust me, she could.
Okay. And now I'm going to go to a holodeck. And I have my party for my Kahaya. And they're all very good people.
Of course they are. They're your family.
They are like you are.
And she grabs you by the shoulders and pulls you in for just a big kiss. And then kind of regards you for a moment and says, "You can do this."
And you can too. I know that you have your own, we each have our own trials to go through.
Very true.
And I am with you. Always.
Back at you. See you on the other side of this.
Okay. Well, let's pray that, your mother doesn't kill me.
Don't let her. Because if I have to bring you back from the dead, I'm going to kick your ass myself.
I'm pretty hard to kill. Haven't you figured that out by now?
Well, there you go. If Iconians couldn't do it and Borg couldn't do it, don't
Then
tell my
nobody
mother,
can.
but she's not going to do it either.
Shanna rests her forehead against Fakir's for a moment. We're doing this.
It's happening.
I love you.
I love you too. Go on, you'll be late.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't be late. Bye.
All right, so you all find yourselves assembled in the holodeck as Shiana comes in, followed shortly by Lady Valkyrie. And Valkyrie just kind of, again, and for those of you who haven't met this matriarch before, she presents herself, she carries herself like royalty. And as the matriarch of arguably the most powerful of the Klingon great houses, she essentially is. So it's almost like sharing the room with, say, Queen Elizabeth I, in terms of the raw power that she kind of projects into her space, and everything near her becomes her space by virtue of that. Looking over the lot of you, she says, "Welcome to Shianadero's Kalhaya. Over the next 4 days, you will endure 6 trials: deprivation, blood, pain, sacrifice, anguish, and death." And Shiana, she turns to you expectantly, and you can feel the data chip that she gave you almost burning its way through your hand. So tightly you've been gripping it this whole time.
Shanna opens her palm. It's time.
Begin the trial.
The trial begins. And Shiana inserts the data chip.
Bianca's like, I'm really glad I wore my comfy pants.
And the holodeck blurs for a moment into a very Klingon-esque surrounding. Only it's still blurring, but you recognize after a moment that it's blurring because of the stifling heat, which has just spiked upwards of 45 degrees Celsius, or about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. In the center of this chamber is a banquet table loaded down with food and drinks from every culture.
Bianca's immediately like, we're not going to be allowed to touch that.
And almost as if picking that up from you, Bianca, Valkyrie says, "The food is there to test how you cope with deprivation. It is not for your consumption."
Called it.
Well, the first trial is deprivation, she said.
Near the table is a fire pit that Lady Valkyrie starts to stoke. And if it were, you didn't think it was possible, but the room actually starts to get even warmer, to where it feels like the air is a blow dryer turned on high and just blowing into your face, into your faces. And Shiana, Valkyrie hands you the poker that she used to stoke this fire that has started, and after handing it off to you, exits the holodeck.
I told you, Klingon pain rituals.
That's your
It's not
future mother-in-law?
pain. Yeah. Yes, that's my future mother-in-law. God.
Wow. I'm so sorry. She reminds me of my mother.
Oh. Well,
Hey, a little bit of my mother.
we could all use some distractions, so tell me.
Oh god, my mother's a scientist. One of the most brilliant. Guess who disappointed everyone by wanting to go into piloting?
Oh my god, you. How could anybody be disappointed in you?
Because I'm not as intelligent as my mother, and I do not have the keen eye as a marksman as my father, who's a soldier.
Oh man, I call bullshit on that.
I know. The only reason that one time my brain was taken over and I tried to shoot the captain that I missed is because I am a very bad shot.
I still call bullshit on the less intelligent than anybody else thing.
I'm less intelligent than my mother.
Well, who's your mother that she's so great?
She is one of the, well, within the Elarians, she is one of the leading cryptozoologists of the, whatchamacallit. He waves his hands in the air like he can't find the word.
My mother was an alcoholic artist who beat us.
My mom's the Starfleet Chief of Security.
I'm sorry to both of you.
So, you know, like we all got it rough when it comes to moms, right? What the fuck?
I'm gonna look
Talk
over
about your like lofty expectations.
I'm
The only
gonna look
difference
over
is
at
that I
Sister
actually achieved what my mother wanted for me. Command of a starship.
Jonas is
My
gonna look over
mother
at
never
Sister and see
expected
how it's
anything from
reacting.
me.
Hang
My
on,
mother
Journey, what were you saying?
Jonas is gonna look over at Sister and see how they're reacting.
I was hatched.
But did
So
your
you don't
parents
know your mother?
expect anything from you?
My parents expected that I would serve the Gorn hegemony. I do so, though perhaps not in the role they originally envisioned. Mother died during the Klingon conquest of my homeworld.
That's rough.
How do you feel about that, Sisram?
Our leaders had been replaced with Undine shapeshifters, and our monarch failed to act when the Klingons warned us. Their action, in light of that, I cannot condemn.
Q Zuko, that's rough, buddy. So is it warm like this where you're from?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I just yeeted my hoodie.
It's alright. So how's the temperature? Like, Bianca is starting to visibly bead sweat.
Mhm.
Like, Betazoids come from a warm planet, but not this warm.
It is warmer than I am accustomed to, but at least the humidity is lower.
It's a dry heat.
Dude, Sisram, don't say things like that. You know that will change the parameters.
You did not
While
lock out the
Sienna's
holodeck
sweat,
controls?
like sweat is like freaking dripping down Sienna's face. What are we actually being deprived of right now? Just comfort?
Food.
The food? How long do we have to sit here?
I think she'll let us know when we're done.
Oh, I'm sure.
I feel like
I'm
that's
sure-
a great
I'm sure
time for like a segue. How long do we have to sit
let us
here?
know.
Right? Now Jezza and Rye antics.
Yeah.
Are y'all okay with that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean.
Okay. Then yeah, let's go back to holodeck 3.
Oh no.
And it's as good a spot as any for kind of more CSI Dauntless, I guess.
I don't know if Adam's. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. Yeah, it's just I was sitting down, so I had to get up, go hit mute. And,
sorry about
unmute,
that.
You know. That's okay. It just takes me a second. So the way I kind of consider, just because I feel like, at least the investigation is kind of slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't necessarily have like a holodeck scene because I feel like
Okay.
because we only have so much information to interact with.
That's
like,
true.
I feel like we're just kind of just spinning a yarn at that point. So that being said, it sounds like how much time has passed? I'm confused on how much time is like.
I would say I'd say a day.
Since the murder to so it's been a day. So okay. So
down in the holodeck, down in the other holodeck, Shanna's like, it certainly has.
Yeah. So okay. So we're aware. Are we aware they've gone to this wedding party thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So
I'm pretty sure. Like, I think
because Bianca would have given you the con.
I was gonna say, isn't Rye in charge again? So like, this is within a day we got put back in charge.
I just assumed the way I assumed is eventually the captain gets back to me and I go like, oh yeah, so I took apart all the transporters so that nobody could leave. And she's probably like, Okay. Did anyone leave? No, ma'am, they did not.
Great initiative.
And,
Good work, Commander.
Yeah. So I assume since it seems like we caught the culprit, I will I will be less paranoid, but we're still on a heightened security alert just in case, because mainly, if anything, to make our diplomatic guests feel more safe.
Yeah.
Like, it is, a political assassination happened 24 hours ago. We are behaving as such.
Ironically, there's probably fewer security personnel on the Dauntless right now because some of them would have been tasked to provide augmented security for the diplomatic summit.
Yeah. And even then, like, it's just, I make it a point especially for almost the psychological aspect, that when they're there, like, there's a guy, his job, even if he's not the greatest security guard in the world, he's going to look busy. Like, sometimes the illusion of security is good. So
let me tell you, security folks are really good about looking busy. Like, you give 2 security forces airmen a bowling ball, come back after 8 hours, the bowling ball will be split in half right down the middle, and neither one of them will know how it happened.
So incidentally, unless
That's not wrong.
So you were saying, incidentally?
So I guess it's does Regan have any particular thing she wants to do? Because the way I kind of see it is, I'm just running the ship. So.
I don't know.
Oh, it's totally fine. Actually, let's have Rye do a roll based on his earlier work. Let's have it do a. Sorry.
I'm good. I'm there.
Okay.
I'm actually. Wow! It didn't even lock. I'm ready to go.
Nice. Let's have Rye do a reason security check.
I can do that. Reason security.
Difficulty. I'm gonna set at. I'm gonna set at 2.
Okay.
Although your Way of the Dare is going to apply here, as is your forensics focus.
Okay, so my focus applies, and Way of the Dare, I believe I get an extra dice. Is that it? It's the. Hold on,
it's either that or -1 difficulty, and I can't remember which.
I will find it pretty quickly. Maybe. There it is. There it is. I just type in Romulan and it's in my drive. It's the first thing that pops up. Okay. Attempt to detect danger or hidden enemies. Reduce the difficulty by 1.
So it'll be a difficulty 1 roll for you then.
Gotcha. We don't have any momentum right now? Well, then
no,
let's just
we've been making very few rolls tonight, as it happens.
All right. Did it go?
It did. 2 successes. So gain momentum.
Yeah, all right, cool.
So you've been running automated traces. Gesundheit. Automated traces.
That was Erica laughing.
Oh, okay. You've been running automated traces on Angelyevik's basically media history. Looking for anything that might raise a red flag. Now,
gotcha.
Federation being what it is...
Federation book.
Yeah. Federation being what it is, values the rights of all of its citizens to express themselves. That being said, there are some corners of basically the extranet, for lack of a better way of putting it, that are a little bit more extreme than others, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you
can say what you want, but you might get put on a list.
Right. You don't get put on a list per se for this, because the Federation really is kind of, I mean, it's utopian, but that also lends it to a certain amount of naivete sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
but these are also some of these areas, some of these sites are also areas that you've recognized used to be kind of breeding grounds for Tal Shiar operatives to incite low-level unrest.
Gotcha. So okay. So let me just rehash real quick. So
Yeah.
our suspect, just to make sure I understand, our suspect has been his social media history indicates to me he has been in contact or at least consuming media and or propaganda by extremist and or Tal Shiar agents.
Right.
Could be.
Possibly. So
Gotcha.
the possible equivalent of, say, well, YouTube.
No, he's on some far right. He's on some far right extranet channels. He himself isn't making posts yet, but he's totally watched this guy go on and on about how, chemtrails are turning all the frogs gay. Gotcha.
Not even quite to that extent, but the kind of stuff that would get you lathered up about oppression and slavery.
Gotcha. So he's not quite hit full on propaganda yet, but there's a path.
Right.
All right.
And Tal Shiar knew how to be subtle with this kind of stuff too.
No. Cool. To include
was that your cat, Regan?
That's my cat. He's not happy with me. I'm trying to trim his toenails.
Oh yeah.
You can hear him. He's mad. He's a mad boy now.
He's a mad cat.
He's big mad.
Sorry.
It needs to be done, boyo.
Your nails are long and they hurt.
No, I hear you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
So.
One more, Nick. One more, and I'll let you go.
So I will contact. I'll contact Rand to meet me in the. I assume, unless I'm wrong, I assume since I have the con, do I use the captain's ready room, or is that only there? I don't know where I would go. Where I go, where I'm in command of the ship, and I'm supposed to be.
You could probably use the Dauntless's lower deck, which doubles as a conference room.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm in. Yeah. You know what? I'll be in the briefing room, and I just have taken it over. I've been in there.
That works.
Yeah. So I'm on the one that's just off the bridge, but I'm not in the captain's ready room. So cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna call. So once I get that info, I'll get it like. Actually, no. Hold on. We're gonna switch it up. Make.
Oh no.
Make it a little bit more. Make it a little more informal. We're gonna be in my quarters.
Oh no.
Where I have. No, exactly. That's why yes. Because you said "oh no" that's why yes, the scene has to take place there.
Oh dear.
But no, it's fine. It's fine. So we'll have like in the office part because I'm the chief science officer, so my quarters are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
I have like the office part. I literally have the pictures and the string and all that.
Oh, he's got the murder board.
Yeah, I got the murder board up. Yeah, so that's the setup. So then I will call Rand to meet me in my quarters. We'll just leave it like that. Commander Rye to Commander Rand.
Ron here.
Ron, excuse me, I'm saying it wrong. Ron, will you meet me in my quarters? There's something I want to show you.
Sure. I'll be there in just a bit. And then Jezza goes to the quarters and stands outside for about a minute before she decides to announce herself.
Gotcha.
To mentally prepare for whatever the fuck is about to happen.
Come, I say once my door chimes. Yeah.
So Ron walks in and sees the murder board to the side.
Hmm.
I see your interior decorating hasn't changed much.
Yes, and when you come in though, I'm being this is relatively friendly. I actually have a kitchen I've made. Like I don't replicate my food, so like I'm in there actually cooking something. Like come in.
All right.
Yes. Would you like something to eat before I go on about my new decorations? He says, gesticulating towards the murder board.
They don't really seem new. They seem like they're just part of.
Well, this is a new murder board. This is a new we'll call it data analysis. No one in Star Trek would say murder board. This is a new data analysis board.
I see. So I take it every so often you take everything down, put everything back in their neat little files, and then start a new one?
Indeed, in my defense, they're typically about stellar fusion and radiation decay. I've been more of a scientist recently.
I suppose same.
I guess there's a little less social intrigue when it comes to colliding protons and electrons. I'm hoping you're hungry. I have made an ancient Earth dish. Or I shouldn't say it's ancient, that's probably not correct. Of a traditional Earth dish. Someone recently turned me on to.
And this dish is?
Macaroni and cheese.
All right.
Yeah. I don't think I've had it. So I literally made a bowl, but I made it from scratch. Like, yeah, there's stuff around.
Sure.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I don't like using the replicators.
That's fair, I guess. To some extent.
Yeah. That's right, Ron. I never invited you. You and I didn't really meet up to I don't think it's the first time you've been in my place. It's a habit I've had for a long time now. So when I hand the bowl of macaroni and cheese, it's too easy to poison replicators.
That, now it makes far more sense, right?
So, follow with me on our journey here. So, takes a bite, and he'll kind of wince. I don't know how humans can stand that taste. Okay, maybe it grows on you. Takes another bite, and okay. So, we have our suspect, the lieutenant, who so far he's admitted his part in this particular situation. So, going with our social engineering theory, I've had the computer run a background analysis on all of his personal interactions. As you can see here through one of his social media extranet communications. So we'll say this is a perfect time for holographics to pop up. So, I'm kind of pressing because it's a Star Trek murder board, so it's a lot more interactive. I'll press it, turns all this into the,
holographics
CIA
with
briefing.
tactile display, interactive displays. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll see here is we can see from the lieutenant, and I'm going to make this up, and feel free to cut me off if I'm just getting ridiculous, but I'm going to get ridiculous with it. All right. So leading here to Bajor and the occupation here, we have one of his friends here that you'll see is Leon. So Leon was one of his classmates, and just after the liberation of Bajor and the demilitarization of Cardassia, this gentleman interacted with making up names here. Manev. Manev, it has an history. I'll click on Manev, pops up. Has an history with a contact with an old acquaintance of mine. We'll call it codename Blackstalker. Blackstalker.
That's not ominous at all.
Yeah, Blackstalker has. These are just. This is just what the Federation files have been able to give you in regards to his activities. What they don't. What I'll have to actually put in a request to Federation intelligence. What they don't know is there's two other things missing here that have actually been placed on someone else. This leads us back to the Tal Shiar. The Tal Shiar is decentralized at this point in time, but during Operation, let's see here, we'll call give me a name, guys. Toss it out.
I'm not good with spread.
Thronebreaker. Thank you. It was during Operation Thronebreaker. They set up this particular false site here, and that leading back leads us back to the lieutenant. The lieutenant has been consuming media that has been gone back to Operation Thronebreaker, which its entire purpose was created to embolden the Maquis to continue their strikes against the Cardassian in the Cardassian demilitarized zone, thus creating more tension, making it easier for the Romulans to break in. I believe our good friend has been led to this site by a person we're going to call our unknown subject, or whoever is behind this.
Unsub.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Criminal Minds fan.
It's my.
A huge
and
what?
that's what I've been doing. The Criminal Minds fan.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
Our unknown subject, or unknown subjects, or unknown actors. So, his last time of accessing this media was approximately 36 hours before the announcement to the starbase that we were going to arrive with our diplomatic friends. So I'll say sitting down, taking another bite. So what do you think?
Of your mac and cheese or the wall theory?
Mac and cheese is awful, but that's at least to me. But this is what I've been doing in my off time.
I have two things for you. One, I think we need to work on your hobbies. Two, pretty good.
That's it. Pretty good. No additional notes.
Well, I mean, what? I'm not the one doing all the research on keeping this place running.
That's true. Someone has to keep the lights on.
But, I mean, you certainly went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You found some interesting stuff.
You say that, but
I can't really add to it.
I don't remember how to
But I
play
can't
this.
say anything against it.
Well,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how to play.
let's see here. I got a quick question for you, Regan.
Yeah.
Just because I'm looking to interact and loop your character in on this more.
Yeah.
What is your character's outside? What are your engineering specialties? What's a way I could ask for your character's help? Like narratively.
Get my shit again.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically for her, so are you asking for like her focuses, what she?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm really asking for is so narratively, my character's invited you down here, so I'm trying to loop you into the story a little bit more. So how would I do that? Like, oh, are you a signal expert? Or, oh, did you build virtual mainframes? Like, what did you do that I could be like,
She's more, like the one thing I can see on here that is very relevant in this is transporters. That is like legitimately a thing that she has a focus in. She does most of
Okay, all right.
It's mostly like your standard engineering stuff, but she definitely has focuses in like transporters and specific power systems, stuff like that.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna make something up, Don, and you cut me off if I'm going too crazy. Okay.
I have a weird curveball one of somatic communication, but I don't know that really helps us in this moment.
So Matt, in that like hand movements.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nonverbals, body language.
Well, yeah, there you go. Well, or sign language. Sounds fun. When we start staring at someone, we'll have fun with that. So what I was thinking, Ron.
All right.
So if this is targeted, there had to be some sort of way to take. So the lieutenant has his own personal access, and every user that accesses any sort of the extranet has an ID. The ID is possible to find out. I can find out that your string of 37 numbers is associated with you. And that's how I can target you. But to do that, and especially to do it with an appropriate timing, assuming this is in some way coordinated, someone might need some sort of burst transmission. So what I was wondering is if you and I, or if you had some way that we could modify the main deflector to find the residual signal that's still floating out there in space. Because nothing ever ends. All energy transforms into a different form. If we can find that, we might be able to find out where this social engineering or this attack is coming from. Or we could find out that I have wasted your time with horrible macaroni and cheese, and we've gone down the rabbit hole.
This is about where you get
either way, I can spend time with an old friend, so...
There's that too, but unfortunately, we didn't get to go to the station, and we don't have any. Oh,
sorry about the whistling, but my whistling sucks. But bridge to Commander Rye.
Rye here. Go ahead.
Commander, we've got 2 incoming communications requests, and the captain left a message she was not to be disturbed. Can you report to the bridge and take these?
Sure, I'm on my way. So I'll extend after I stand up, and I will take a swig of water to get the horrible macaroni and cheese taste out of my mouth. And I extend my hand to the sitting Ran. Shall we?
She'll take your hand? Absolutely.
All right, so I will take the commander, and we will go to the bridge.
Okay. And we can do that. Yeah, we'll just skip one more step over. There we go. So you step out, the 2 of you step out onto the bridge. Ren takes her spot at engineering, and there's an incoming communique from the commanding officer of the Shroud.
And what's the commanding officers of the Shroud's name?
Captain Varric Santiago.
Santiago. Okay, Santiago. On screen. Captain Santiago, this is Commander Rye Kev of the Dauntless. How can I help you?
Yes, Commander Rye. I need you to relay a message to the captain for me when she is once again available.
Absolutely, sir. If you would, go ahead, sir.
The Shroud is being reassigned to the Alpha Quadrant, effective immediately.
Is this unusual, Captain? If I may be so bold to ask.
I knew it was coming. I just didn't know the timing of it.
Well, in that case, I will absolutely inform the captain of the reassignment. Do we have any of your do we have all of your last reports?
You do indeed. I'm uploading the last of them to Dauntless's computer systems now.
Is there anything perhaps that I should encourage the captain to look at first?
Not offhand. Well, I would say start with the most recent and work our way back.
Sounds good. I will absolutely do that, Captain. As humans say, Godspeed.
Indeed. Thank you, Commander. And that clicks out with one message still, one incoming communique still waiting on the queue.
Gotcha. Comm officer, who's on hold?
Commander Vassar, Starbase 374.
Well, on screen. Commander, this is Lieutenant Commander Raj Takev of the USS Dauntless. How can I be of assistance?
Commander Takev, Commander Vassar here, Station Starbase Security. I've been trying to reach the captain. We've got a situation with Lieutenant Angel. He's dead.
The suspect? The suspect is dead. I see. I will inform the captain as soon as they are available. How can I directly assist you at this moment?
Just pass that along, and if you can get a hold of Commander Darrow, she was leading the investigation into the assassination. She'll need to be roped in onto this as well.
Absolutely. I will alert Commander Darrow as soon as she becomes available. With your permission, Commander, I was hoping until Commander Darrow becomes available, of sending over 2 additional officers to investigate the situation, or at least take a look at the scene. Is it still fresh?
Yes, if you have additional security personnel, that would be ideal.
We will send our 2 most capable investigators.
Copy that, Dauntless. Vassar out.
I'm not laughing.
Okay, so at that point in time, I will gonna go into paranoid Romulan mode. Heighten back up to security alert. I will turn to Ren. Ren, do me a favor. I would love to see all those pattern enhancers right back here on the bridge deck. I will turn to the Master at Arms. The Master at Arms is probably there. Or I will contact the Master at Arms. Master of Arms, this is the bridge.
Go ahead.
I need you to begin a thorough investigation along with the chief transporter operator and the chief internal sensor operator to know anything that is any unusual activity that has happened in the last 24 hours aboard the ship. Begin that. Meet me in the ready room in approximately 10 minutes.
Understood. With that,
so I will. So the point of what I will do is I will tell the Master at Arms what has happened, so
Gotcha.
that he knows to begin the investigation. I will then take Ran and we will beam to the starbase to investigate.
Okay.
That's why I started laughing, because I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Hold that thought, because we are going to go back into the Kalhaya.
Oh, and I will have the messages them, but I'm not interrupting.
Yeah, no, we're gonna come out of the Kalhaya and everything's on fire.
No, nothing will be on fire. I explicitly said Jezza and Ryan will not burn everything down.
Well, no, but the people who are in that holodeck will be on fire.
Okay, I mean, yes,
Not to mention, you're thinking that somehow some of us don't already know something's wrong.
Yeah.
There is that.
Jonas is gonna be like, red flags.
So Bianca, a couple of things. First off, you do get you do get a ping from Varek, who says, "We'll chat later, but just received orders to the Alpha Quadrant. Effective immediately. We're out."
Godspeed, Imzadi.
And let me have you make an insight command roll here for the second. I'm setting the difficulty here at 3.
Ooh, I'm gonna take our momentum, guys.
Yep. Okay.
Go for it.
Would my composure focus apply?
Yes.
Okay.
Do, do, do.
You do have cautious command.
That is true. That is true. I'm gonna reroll that.
Okay.
Ha!
So
Nice.
4 successes, you earn back your momentum. You pick up a spike of fear and pain for just an instant, and then it's gone.
Oh man.
Bianca just kind of looks over at Jonas.
Oh, that's fun. Do I get to roll anything?
Yeah, well, we'll have you do insight command as well.
All right.
For you, I'm going to set the same difficulty, so difficulty 3.
Okay. I'm going to.
Attunement
go ahead
focus
and,
applies here.
Okay. Yeah, I will go ahead and just because I'm worried about that roll, I'm gonna go ahead and do my daily.
Okay. What value would you like to call upon?
I'm gonna do I am the calm in the storm.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and put that there. So that's 2 successes.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay, so you got 4 and a complication.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the complication. Jonas, you kind of see Bianca wince for a moment. And for a split second, you feel one person's tapestry completely unravel. And not having expected it, it takes such a heavy toll on you mentally that it, between that and the physical exertion you've been experiencing, let's have you make a second roll. This one's going to be fitness security. And the difficulty is also going to be 3.
Oh, it's a gut check.
Oh, it was nice knowing you folks.
Oh, no.
But I do need to give you your momentum from that successful roll. So you're at 2.
Okay, I'm going to pop my daily for Jonas.
Okay, as the captain, giving him your determination?
Yes.
Okay. So
trust your instincts.
okay. When you use your determination in that fashion, I don't think you have to call upon a value.
Okay.
So what's the captain doing?
She as the captain, she can give you her determination.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Very. So you'll have 2 automatic successes going into this.
Okay, and I have no focuses that apply here.
Correct.
And do I stick with the 2 or grab an extra moment? I'll just go ahead and roll my 2.
Okay.
Because the combined number is a 10, and I don't know how well this is going to go. Nope, I'm out.
Okay. So the rest of you kind of see Bianca wince for a moment. You watch as Jonas's eyes roll back in his head, and he starts to pitch forward.
I want to move to catch him.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to make you roll for that. You managed to catch him easily enough. So regarding the retcon, Kate, I'm going to make that a 1-point momentum spend if you're okay with that.
Retcon?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so in that case, um, we'll have. In that case, let's do this. So Rye, Shiana left instructions in case of an emergency to go ahead and contact her anyway. And this seems like an emergency.
Sorry, had to walk over and unmute. So what we will say then at that point in time is instead of contacting the captain immediately, I lock the ship down and do that part, and then I will contact the captain.
Okay.
Because then everything happens, I'm just...
Commander Darrow, specifically, yeah.
You're contacting Shiana.
I will I contact whoever, but the first thing I do, being the paranoid Romulan, is I lock the ship down and get it together, because that's time wasted. I'm also, and I can come up with the story, is if the Tal Shiar is listening, I don't want them to know. So I guess that's possible. Is it possible for me to get to them outside the holodeck and then send the message, rather than send it, just to play with my paranoia so it works? If it's possible. If not, I'll just use the communicator.
I mean...
I don't think it matters.
No.
That's fine.
I don't think it would either.
Cool. Yes, then I will... Because are you guys on the starbase? Is that where you guys are?
No, they're on the ship.
No, we're on the ship.
Oh, you're on the ship? Oh, shit. I didn't even know that. I thought you were somewhere on a different holodeck. Oh, well, in that case, yeah, I do all that. Then I will physically go to the holodeck and do that. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. So I will... The polite way of ringing them. Like, I don't want to interrupt, but I gotta interrupt.
So Bianca, just as you're catching Jonas, there's a chime at the door.
Open it.
And Rye's standing there. And a blast of cold air floods into the holodeck, to the vast relief of all of you.
He's dead, isn't he?
If by he you mean our suspect, then yes.
Well, that's inconvenient, but also...
Question, am I out? Like, is Jonas out cold, or...
Momentary. I'll say by the point that Bianca caught you, a few seconds later, you probably would have recovered. Especially... Like, the momentary sensation of a cool breeze makes you feel like you're sailing for a moment, and then you open your eyes. Still in the Kalhaya, but rather awkwardly in the captain's arms.
That's okay. Captain?
Lieutenant, welcome back.
Sorry about that.
It's alright, I felt it too. He's dead.
I know. I felt it. His entire tapestry, his entire song just gone.
Do they know how? Was it suicide? Homicide?
They did not reveal the details. The scene is still being preserved.
Then we'll have to get over the scene as soon as possible.
Shiana,
Indeed.
Which trial are we still in?
The deprivation?
Still in the deprivation trial, yeah. There's a definite point where the blood trial comes into play, and hadn't quite reached that, although that was scheduled to be soon? You hoped?
Bianca's going to... I feel obligated to point out that this could be part of it.
And I feel obligated to point out that I have an obligation. I have a duty to investigate this matter. And Lady Valkyrie can come for me if she wants.
Oh, she'll come for you, alright.
Oh, she'll come for me.
She'll have to get through us first.
Mm-hmm.
Jonas is gonna stand up a little shakily, but he'll manage to stand on his feet.
So, side note, side question. Is Valkyrie like not standing outside the holodeck, like just watching to see what?
You know what you did. Let's go. Noir. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, the dog.
Oh,
I just
gotcha.
caught it in a mess. Sorry about that.
You know, I will say that I'm going to say she was approaching the holodeck as if to begin the second trial.
Cool. This is gonna be fun.
I also think this is a great point to wrap it up until the next episode.